Hello, welcome to everyone. Welcome to our channel. As you know, we're processing page by page in the little booklet Kamatthana, and today we are on page 21. We've been talking about samadhi as one form of virtue or merit, and these definitions and these techniques and supports continue on page 21. The Pali Canon gives this example as the difference between the three forms of making merit. So the Pali Canon, I'm sure many of you know, Pali is believed to be the language that the Buddha spoke, and the canon is the compilation of teachings that were, quote, sanctioned after the Buddha died and were eventually put into a written form. So we have them as a whole encyclopedia of Buddha's teachings that exceed 40 volumes in most languages. So here's the way the Pali Canon defines using examples of these three forms of merit, making merit, that we've been discussing on the previous pages. So I've changed the verbiage quite a bit here because the traditional way is to repeat everything over and over again, and I've cut out some of those words. It is better to give dana, that's some kind of donation, to someone who has entered the stream, first level of meditation, satapani or sotaban, than to give to 1,000 monks or lay people who have not entered the stream. So here's a kind of hierarchy. If you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, try to find a stream winner and make a donation to them as recognized according to this teaching as being better than giving a donation to others who have not entered the stream. Then it's better to give to a once returner than 100 stream winners. So someone who has reached the second stage, Sakadagami, we should, in my mind, this is just a way of formalizing how we could show respect to people who are on the path of Dhamma. So we show respect to a stream winner, we show more respect to them than to those who have not entered the stream. Then we show even more respect or more gratitude to someone who has reached the second stage of once returner, so-called better than 100 stream winners. Well, that's quite an elevation. And it's better to give to a non-returner, anagami, than to 100 stream once returners. So each of these steps of the 4 steps of enlightenment is 100 times better than the one before it. It reminds me, it's never occurred to me before, it's like those earthquake designations, a level 5 and a level 6. I think there's 10 times difference between one of those levels and another. In this case, there's 100 times difference. And it says it's better to give to an arhat, someone who is fully liberated, is all done, will not take rebirth, will at the time of his physical body dying, will join Buddha mind. I can't talk about it because I don't understand it. It is better to give to, so even if you're an anagami, and there's very few of those around, if you can find an arhat, it's better to give to them, or they deserve. I'm going to put it that way. They deserve the highest respect, the highest possible respect of the four levels. It is better to give to a Pekka Buddha or Pika Buddha than to 100 arhats. Those who don't know, there is a kind of Buddha that isn't a Tathagata, that isn't like Lord Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. They are mini Buddhas. They're more advanced than arhats in some way, which I have no idea about. I can't talk about it. But they don't teach. They often are hermits dwelling in the forest or something. You never hear of them. We don't learn about them in history because they're reclusive. But their purification of mind is superior to that of an arhat. And it's better to give to the Sangha headed by a Buddha than 100 Tathagatas. I think I missed one. It's better to give to one Tathagata, that's a Lord Buddha, the Lord Buddha that we recognize now is a Tathagata Buddha, than 100 Pekka Buddhas. So there's the Buddha's the crowning glory. It is better to give to the Sangha headed by a Buddha than 100 Tathagatas. So if we can find a Sangha that is headed, whose head is Lord Buddha, the one that we know historically as Siddhartha, that's better than some Buddhas who don't have any Sanghas, any followers. It is better to build a building for the Sangha of a Buddha than to give to a Sangha headed by a Sangha of a Buddha than to give to a Sangha headed by the Buddha. So I have to say that again because I guess I'm confused. It is better to build a building for the Sangha of a Buddha than to give to a Sangha headed by a Buddha. So it's even better if you have the money to build a monastery, a temple for the Sangha headed by the Buddha than to just give, you might say, money to the Buddha or a donation of some kind to a Buddha, to a Buddhist congregation. It is better, so that's the 3 donations all fall under category of giving. So those different ways of giving have to do with dana. And each of them is 100 times better than the previous one. It is better to go for refuge in the Triple Gem than to build a building. We talked about what going for a refuge is. There's only the refuge of our own heart, and the pure heart is Buddha nature. So, of course, if we're really taking refuge, we're living a life, secure life in the heart of our own Buddha nature. It is better to take the 5 vows than to make donations. So now we're back to virtue. It's better to live a pure life than it is to give anything, give any kind of money or donation, time, effort, volunteerism, etc. It's better to develop metta, that's loving kindness, for the time it takes to pull a cow's udder than to take refuge or take the vows. So getting a little more complicated, but better than just taking refuge. We have to make that refuge a house of loving kindness. So if we've done that, it's better than this act of surrendering to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So it says these last three fall under the category of virtue or sila. Now we've done. It continues. It is best to have the perception of anicca for the length of a finger snap. So that's even better than having developed a pure sense of loving kindness. And by definition, that would mean there is no personal sense of self. Any personal sense of self carries with it some delusion, and that delusion means impurity. And however much we feel we are compassionate and filled with loving kindness and goodwill, to the degree that we have a sense that I am compassionate and I am filled with loving kindness, we are delusional that we're still a person. But the closer we get to pure loving kindness, even for the time it takes to pull the udder or the tit of a cow, just a very short moment of pure loving kindness is an unimaginable blessing. It's just an unimaginable blessing. But the highest of all blessings, above loving kindness, is this blessing to know everything. If it's a thing, that is, if it's made of an atom or a quark or a boson, some subatomic particle, or if it's the universe and everything in the universe is made of some kind of subatomic particles and atoms, including the energy, and the energy of thinking and having emotions. Those are creations. They exist momentarily, they live for some time and pass away. So if it is created in whatever form, it lives for some time and passes away. On the case of the atom, it passes away about 1 billion times in 1 second. So it's not humanly possible to imagine something that is invisible. No one has ever seen an atom. You can't find one with a microscope. They're so small. Anyway, they arise and pass away on the nanosecond level. The universe, whether it's a Pacific Ocean or the Earth or a galaxy or a solar system, whatever it is, it arises on the subatomic level and passes away every nanosecond. But visually, if we're looking at it, it doesn't seem to be changing at all. But we know that even the universe arises and passes away over the course of long periods of time. And not a billionth of a second, but billions and billions of years. And we know even the Earth has had 5 mass extinctions. I think the Earth is somewhere around 4 billion years old. And during that time, it has gone through enormous change. That's another form of anicca. When we change our mind, that's a form of anicca. when we change locations, when we move from one room to another, when we take a bath, when we stand up, when we go to bed. That's all forms of anicca. The climate is a form of anicca, daylight, raining, temperature. Everything is subject to anicca. When we truly experience that directly at the heart level, we will be fully liberated. There will no longer be any sense of self. There'll only be this wisdom that if it exists, it will pass away. Now, we're at the bottom of the page. Best locations for the practice of samadhi. The forest. Buddha said they called a town the crossroads. So I just picture literally, let's just say a road running north and south and a road running east and west, and there'd be a little cluster of houses there. There might even be a store of some kind, or maybe a little market where you could buy some fresh vegetables, whatever. But anyway, a little cluster of people living together. He said, get out, get away from there. Now, as far as we know, at least as far as I know, there was never anything like New York City or Los Angeles or Bangkok or Calcutta, etc., at the time of the Buddha, where 10 million people or more live. Mexico City, square miles, tens of miles square of people. At any rate, it's not conducive to samadhi. It's a distraction. There are so many human noises, and the most disturbing of all noises is the human voice. So the Buddha said, get out into nature. That's a place is living in harmony. Everything in nature is living in harmony with the laws of nature. The shade of a tree, monks often sat, meditated, and slept at the base of a large tree, actually called it home. They just had a mosquito net that they hung up and could stay for long periods of time at the base of a tree. A charnel ground, that's a place where people who were poor couldn't afford to cremate the body of a loved one. They there was a place outside of town where you just, quote, dump the body. And these also were places that the Buddha recommended that we meditate, so we could see just what happens to the body after death. The crows peck out our eyes, and the gases explode our innards, and the jackals eat on us, etc. And ultimately, our bones turn to dust. And this meditation was recommended to people who have strong sensual desires, attachments to their body sensually, and that if we practice this meditation, you go sit and actually look at and contemplate. You use the mind to investigate. This is my destiny. This is what will happen to me, and yet this is not me. This does not belong to me. This is not mine. Out in the open, an open field, for example, an empty shack or cabin, a cave, an overhanging cliff, the top or sides of a hill, the edge of a forest or a hill. In other words, out in as natural environment as you can find. For those of us who are city dwellers, town dwellers, who have responsibilities to family or to work. Of course, we can't go there every day. We usually can't live there. We can only visit there. Many meditation centers are built in natural environments, but we can't go there all the time. But whenever we can, we go there, even if it's just for an afternoon or an evening, watch a sunset or a sunrise. And if the alternative that we have is to find the quietest place in the place where we live, maybe we can ask roommates or family members to turn off the television, to be as quiet as possible when we're practicing. Maybe we have to get up before the family wakes up or our roommate or partner wakes up. Maybe we have to meditate after the household is quiet. But we do our best to find the environment, including in our own home, that is most conducive to quieting the mind. Okay, we've finished page 21. Thank you for your patience and your interest. I hope you'll consider pressing like and subscribe with the intention of spreading this Dhamma far and wide. Thank you.